Hello everyone. So today we are going to talk about an application cold email automation that solves a daily life problem. Let us first understand what is the problem. I, wa- I was in process of landing my first job in US. Now apart from applying from LinkedIn, I had to use another strategy, which was sending an email to recruiters or consultants for a role or a position that was listed on the job board or LinkedIn post. Now one cold email can land me in the right place at the right time at a right job. Now all of these recruiters had different roles or position that they needed. I had to be very careful while sending them an email by attaching the right resume specific to the role with a email content that highlights my skills specific to the role that they are looking for. Now of course it became a real daily pain for multiple reasons. By end of the day I gathered many email IDs of recruiters or consultants for different roles such as full stack engineer, backend developer, and many such. Now, attaching the resume and having an email body specific to the role or position that I saw was a time consuming thing to create an email drafts, to create an email with right skill set and right resume. Now, how does this application makes my life better? A cold email automation application creates bulk Gmail drafts with the right resume attached, highlighting the skill set with the role that I want to send an email for. Now let us see a quick demo of how does this application works. Now what all things would I need for this application? Now of course I would maintain an Excel sheet which would have three details. One is name of recruiter, email ID of recruiter that I need to send an email to, and a role that I want to apply for. There could be different roles. FSC stands for full stack engineer, backend role, ML stands for machine learning, and so on. Now, out of this, email ID and role are two mandatory fields. However, recruiter's name is an optional field. Now, as we are talking about sending an email, we would need an email template and we would need to have an resume specific to the role. As you can see, I need to maintain an email template in a text file. Let us have a quick look at these email template which are specific to each of these roles. As you can see, this is this is an email template for a backend role. It would create an email specifically referencing to the recruiter's name for the position that I want to apply for, highlighting my skill set specific to backend Java developer. Right? In the end, it would pick up my signature details as a part of email body. Similarly, I would have one such email template for a full stack engineer role that would highlight my skills specific to full stack engineer. Again, as I said, it would have email recruiter's name, the position that I want to apply for. Along with this, it is expected to have an attachment of a resume that is for a full stack engineer role for this email template. Now of course for this I would need to have a resume specific to a specific role. The resume can either be a document or it can be a PDF file. Let us quickly have a look at the full stack engineer resume. So this is an email that I have created specific to full stack engineer, and another could be a resume for a role Java backend developer. So this is a resume for a Java backend developer. Now there are few things that we need to follow. The email template and the resume needs to have role name that you want to send an email for, which would be present in your Excel sheet. So as you can see, my role in Excel was backend and full stack engineer, FAC. So I need to ensure that when I create an email template and resume under a folder on my machine, I need to add FAC and backend as a part of my resume and as a part of my email in order to work this in order for this application to function properly. Now, as you can see, I have an ML engineer role with per Ranka as an email ID, but I don't have an email template and resume for this particular role. So ideally this application should not process machine learning engineer role and neither generate an email draft for this particular email ID. So out of 5 roles, 4 should be successful and 1 for ML role should be a failure. Now let us quickly see a demo for this role. In order to create an email in your Gmail application, this would be needing an access to your drafts of your Gmail account, hence it asks you to sign in. Now before that, let us first quickly see that my Gmail drafts for this particular user doesn't have any draft sitting in here. By end of this application execution, it should create a draft in my Gmail. Let us quickly sign in. I would sign in and give the permission. Continue. The authentication is in progress. Authentication was successful and I need to provide in basic details so that these details can be used as a part of signature. I'll fill in the full name details. Here if you see, I have used Saloni Ranka as a full name. This name would be used while attaching the resume as a naming convention. Here I would enter my phone number. LinkedIn profile is an optional field. I would browse the path of the folder wherein I have kept my email templates and resume. So as you can see, this job emailer files is the folder that I've kept my files. So I would use this as a path. Of course, you cannot create an email drafts without providing the details in an Excel sheet. So if I click on generate email drafts, it would ask me that please provide an Excel file. So I need to browse an Excel file. I browse an Excel file with 5 records, out of which 1 is of machine learning engineer, that would fail. I would click on generate email drafts and it says processing. Now let us see what happened. So processing results, out of 5 records, 4 were successful and 1 landed into error. So what is the error that is there? I would have a missing email template for a machine learning engineer role. Of course that was for Parvranka, so it failed for 1 record, Parvranka as expected for machine learning engineer role. Now 4 were successful. How do I verify this 4 were successful? As I said, the output of this application would be an email draft creating an email that are role specific, having a role specific resume as an attachment. Now as I said, out of those 4 roles, 3 roles were for full stack engineer and 1 was for backend, which had saloni.k.ranka@gmail as an email recipient. Let us first look at email draft of Java backend developer. So as expected, it picked up the right recipient email address. As the Excel sheet did not had a name, it did not pick up the recruiter's name here. It highlighted my skills that are specific to backend developer position, and of course if you can see, it has an attachment with a naming convention of full name that I provided while filling the form and a backend specific resume. Let us quickly open this resume and see whether it is the right resume or not. So as I can open this, it is a resume that is highlighting my specific Java backend developer experience, right? Now let us have a quick look at the full stack engineer role. So one is for Jagrat Ranka, ranka.jagrat@gmail.com, highlighting my full stack engineer skill set. and a resume that is specific to Java full stack engineer. Let us quickly open this resume and see if it is highlighting my full stack engineer developer roles. Yes, it is. So similarly, I would have an emails as a draft for other full stack engineer for different recruiters. One is Dr. Tanviranka, and the third one would be another email address, right? So as expected, it created 4 email drafts, 4 successful as a processing result and 1 failure for ML engineer role. Of course, if you want, you can read the template guide instruction. How would you create a template? A sample template is also being given. Apart from that, a basic instruction guide, how would you use this application, is also given. You could sign out and use it for different user if you want, but of course that would need a Gmail authentication for that email address. Now this application could be extended to different ideas and not be specific to resume or job hunting. It could be your application need creating email drafts, or it could be again a job hunting use case like scraping the job posting and creating a resume specific to the job position that you want to apply for. It can be extended to multiple different ideas, but for now we have restricted to a limited scope as a use case to get started with. Hope you enjoyed. Happy learning.